strategy session. It's going to be one of my favorites. And this is all about product adoption as well as solution. Now, we are going to unpack and purchase. Purchase? Did I say purchase? Yes, I did say purchase. We're going to understand that every purchase is an act of trust. Now, that is relative to today's topic, which is product adoption and service adoption, both in technology and, of course, in other fields. And guess what? People, they adopt solutions, not products. It's not what it's about. People actually buy outcomes. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? But think about the last time you bought a smartphone or when you bought a vacuum cleaner. So, for example, the Roomba, right? You might buy the Roomba because the outcome is you don't like to vacuum manually. You want to let that robot go around and do its thing. So you're purchasing an outcome. That's the fun part about it, which I think they're amazing. I first used one, I think it was back in 2007, and it was priceless. It's gotten a lot better now because it doesn't get caught up on shag rugs as much. It's gotten better. But yes, every purchase is indeed an act of trust. And when you are uncertain about a company, that is the biggest the blockade to actual adoption. You won't adopt a product that you yourself don't trust. And transparency builds trust faster than anything when a company is transparent. And that's why when people are collecting information, like say, hey, sign your email here. And, you walk up and you sign on the clipboard and you say here. And then you say, what are you going to be doing with that? Right? But they didn't make it very transparent. Say it's only for our emailing list only, and nothing will, we don't trade our emailing list. People are transparent with your data. And when they are transparent with your data, because not everybody is, when they're transparent with your data, you're more likely to trust them. Because transparency is better than trying to persuade people, trying to sell people. And that's the key thing. Honesty creates credibility, and results beat the opinions. So when you have a product like the Roomba and it actually gets results and you didn't have to lift a finger to vacuum, it's doing its job. Those results speak for itself. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. And when we look at a founder or a CEO of a business, their reputation becomes the face of the brand, the face of the company. And that face does build trust faster than a logo actually will. Now, if you put the person's face into a logo, you start to see that. And it becomes part of the company's reputation. So at the end of the day, it is all about being authentic, although a lot of people don't really know what that actually means to be authentic. We're talking in business here, being authentic. What that really means in a nutshell, what you say and what you do match together. That's the beauty of it. And having that real conversation with people is going to beat the marketing and the script when they call you over the phone and they have a script that they're reading and they're trying to sell you those model cars. Want to buy these model cars? And you're like, no, I don't want that. We're going to send you a new one every month. No, sorry. Human connection is important. And the reason why it's important is because it creates a loyalty to the brand, and emotional loyalty is where the connection actually happens. Relationships are reign supreme. And that speaks volumes about people, because when you have relationships, they outlast any transaction, because it's about building your community and building your brand, your name, your reputation. A trusted voice, when people trust what you say and they trust your voice, that lowers the fear of trying something new. Very important. And when you build a community, you have to build that community with confidence. That's what it's all about. You have to be able to do that. Now, when we get into branding, what you say and what you do in your brand is important, but what you say and what you do in your identity is also important because of the fact that it builds trust. People like reliability. If you say you're going to be there at 9 o'clock for dinner and you say yes and you're there, people like that reliability. You're reliable. I'm going to go out to dinner with you again, only if you're buying now. Kidding. But you get the idea. There is a concept of under promising and over deliver, that when you're in business, you're not promising huge, but you're making sure that you deliver a strong product. So that's where it comes. Now, if you're under promising and over deliver, what that does is it actually creates advocates in your community. People are like, all right, this guy's good. I like what he's doing. I care about what he's doing, and it becomes positive. And when you are building a website or building a method of where the product is obtained in some way, shape, or form, every step that you throw in there loses people. Mental overwhelm is not what it was back in 2001. When we first started web design, when I say we, me and the people that I trained back in 2001, what we looked at was that book that says, Don't Make Me Think. And it was a priceless book. I think they made dozens of versions of it after that. But Don't Make Me Think was a website, a book about building websites, and that you don't want to make people think. It was part of UX design, UI design, web design in general. When we're talking about in the infancy, now we got all these buzzwords going on. But back in 2001, when Yahoo can barely hold a graphic on the front page, it was an important thing that you didn't make people think, that it was one click, go. And when I say one click, look at Amazon. One click purchase, boom, done. People like that. People like that. People like the security. So when you are bringing people into your company, you have good onboarding. You onboarding them. And that timing is going to matter just as much as quality. That when you onboard them, it's going to be at the right time. If you think about it this way, if you just released a product and the product is now out on the market, and you're the kind of company that refreshes its product often, and you just onboard someone, and we're still selling last year's product, but then we find out that new stuff is going to be coming down the pipeline, but no one told the customer. Now, how mad would the customer be? Well, someone didn't set the expectations with them. So yeah, he's going to be upset. So solve problems that people already know they have. And that's it for today's strategy. So that was just covering transparency and consistency in marketing your personal brand, as well as your products, your website, and what have you. Have a good day. Take care.